everybody. I hope all of you are having yourselves a nice week. It's been a little while since I put anything out there. Been on annual leave and just trying to take it easy, work on my tan a little bit. As you can see, clearly not working. I'm only bronzed when it comes to this arm, putting the mail out of the vehicle's window, right into the mailbox, just like everyone else that's on a mounted route. And for all of you that are on a parking loop route, hang in there. We're going to get through this one way or another. That being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into this. I've been looking at our branch newsletter, and there was something that did come from the business agent here in Region 3. For those of you that don't know, that business agent is Michael Cariff, and he is going to be running for president of our union, the National Association of Letter Carriers, for 2026. You can find him on Facebook. It's Mike, the number 4, Prez, Mike for Prez, all one word. And he's also on YouTube. Maybe go ahead, give him a check, look at him, see what he's about and all that stuff. And so with that being out there, I'm going to go ahead and read a little something that's in the 18 and 8, which is our newsletter from our branch. And I'm going to read a little something that Mr. Cariff believes needs to be addressed for our contract. So this right here will actually help give you guys an opportunity to know a little bit more about him as he goes ahead and updates his own platform for his presidency. So I'm just going to read what he said. This right here states, from the desk of Michael Cariff, NALC, National Business Agent, Region 3. Our current contract expired on May 20th of last year, and we still don't have a new one yet. The parties have been in official discussion since February 22nd, 2023. The terms of the old contract are still in effect, although they are insufficient to meet our needs at this time. I have made a list of issues to help frame your thoughts about a new contract. If President Renfro is still able to negotiate a contract with the Postal Service, then all active letter carriers will have the chance to weigh in on it, yay or nay. This is called the ratification process. If we end up going through with the interest arbitration process, then the 3-person panel led by the neutral arbitrator, Dennis Nolan, will make all the final decisions. Mr. Cariff has also identified 28 issues and asks a simple question. Will our contract address the following 28 issues? The low starting pay. Whether it's the CCA rate of $19.33 or the PTFS rate of $22.13, starting pay isn't attracting enough high-quality applicants to do a job that has a high level of responsibility and is also physically demanding. 15 years to top pay. The slow march to the top used to take 8 years, and now it's up to 15 if you include CCA time. Non-career workforce. As a response to the daring strike of 1970, Congress passed the Postal Reorganization Act, identifying postal employees as a career job. This is what we are advocating for with the Retirement Fairness Act. All letter carriers should begin their career from day one. Our top pay versus UPS's top pay. The Teamsters recently negotiated a contract that eventually gets their drivers to $49 per hour on average. We currently max out around $37 per hour. Work schedules for CCAs and PTFs. Flexible is fine, but it is unreasonable that our work schedule can change on a whim without any recourse for the letter carrier and without any additional compensation. The hiring process. His words, "It's so whack right now. Our involvement could only help." I'm going to agree with that, and I'm pretty sure that all of you out there would as well. They take almost anybody off of the street. In fact, in our district, they don't even do drug tests anymore. Tell me in the comments, do they do drug tests in your districts now? Grievance procedure delays. Management is letting thousands of grievances sit at the DRT past the 14-day time limit. They're also failing to make a bona fide effort to resolve grievances at the lowest level, which also delays the outcome. Yeah, we all do that too. We all know exactly what they're doing inside our offices. Don't any of you know what's going on there at the informal A? Oh, informal. Oh, listen, if it's over $50, I need a postmaster to approve it. Yeah, if you head out to the far west, out in Quad Cities, yeah, guess what? They're having that problem out there too, even in some places southwest of where I'm at. Contract compliance. That's another big issue. The negotiated terms of our contract are regularly ignored by managers that the Postal Service entrusts to run the company. This is creating much ill will between the parties, also costing the Postal Service millions of dollars in non-compliance grievances. Yeah, and let me go ahead. I'm going to tell you what's going on. In Illinois 1, which is Chicago, Branch 11, guess what? $12 million. $12 million in payouts is what the Postal Service has paid. Yeah, isn't that nuts? Think about what that would do for most of our branches. Another full-time officer in some of the smaller offices, you could probably have a full-time officer with that kind of money. Mandatory overtime. When the Postal Service doesn't properly staff the post office or a post office, many times the extra work falls on regular carriers that just want to do the work assignment and go home, which should be their right. The rural carrier contract already excludes off-assignment mandatory overtime. Exceeding work hour limits. A carrier should be able to go home once they've reached the contractual work hour limit, period. Well, I'm going to chime in on that. That's absolutely correct. I have heard, and I believe this was an arbitration decision that happened in this region, that a certain office that had constant 1260 violations ended up with a similar award to what I'm about to say. The award stated that if management tries to force them to work more than the 1260, they can actually refuse overtime and management cannot discipline them. That's something that every one of our offices should be fighting for. Exceeding work hour limits. Exactly. A carrier should be able to go home once they've reached the contractual work hour limit, period. Yeah, I agree. I think I just said that. Not sure. Losing track here. Mutual transfers. Two-letter carriers should be able to swap positions without interference from the employer. There's currently no form or standard method to apply for a mutual swap. Let's see. Transfer impediments. There should be a time limit for the employer to consider a normal transfer request, if not just a requirement to accept a transfer from the next person in line. Management has to accept a carrier's bid for a route based on seniority. So why are there so many roadblocks when a carrier wants to transfer into a vacancy in another office? I agree. I myself have been trying to transfer to an office closer to my home, which is approximately 20 miles away versus the 35 miles that I travel in one direction to get to my office. Full-time assignments. In many places, we don't have the proper complement for all city letter carriers to work. We're also regularly assigned rural, clerk, and supervisor 204B work to do, and we don't get any credit for that. If you take the daily average hours of work that is being assigned to letter carriers in a particular post office and divide that number by 8, that's the number of full-time city letter carriers that should be on the rolls. Staffing carrier complement. The service routinely undercounts the number of letter carriers they need and also does not account for their poor retention rate. Many post offices are understaffed, while at the same time there are even some that are overstaffed where our carriers can't get the hours they desire. Loaning procedures. Loaning between offices should take place where there are carriers in one office that want to work more while carriers in another office want to be able to go home. There is currently no fair workable procedure for this. Uniform program. $4.99 per annum is not sufficient to cover our costs, particularly in a geographic area that has all the seasons. The footwear offered through the uniform vendors is not always what we want to wear. Brand new carriers don't receive an allowance at all. Probationary periods. The evaluation form they use, PS Form 1750, is from the Pony Express era. The real issue is that the supervisors that do the quote-unquote evaluations have unrealistic time expectations from new carriers and really use the probationary period to browbeat the new carriers into working unsafely and developing bad habits. Yeah, absolutely. That's something that they tried doing to me when I walked in the door 10 years ago. And you want to know something? I'm still here. I learned the right way. I became a union steward. So guess what? Fuck you, management. You and every last one of you pieces of shit that think you can go ahead and bash us into the ground, as well as throw frivolous discipline at us for doing the best that we can under the conditions while you sit in your air-conditioned office on your fat ass while it just constantly grows. Anyway, now that I'm done with that, I'm pretty sure you guys out there can, you can relate to that. No holiday pay for PTFs. Step AA versus Step A cost PTF carriers approximately $1 per hour. because holiday pay is not currently prorated and added into their hourly pay like it used to be. Daily stress over times. If there is no street standard, why is the supervisor allowed to harass us daily about how long it takes? Exactly. They need to just go ahead and create something that states that the Postal Service may no longer use any kind of performance enhancing tool, DOIS, or anything to help measure time. That's my opinion. I think we all need to get on that, and that should be an article. That should be one of the newer articles in a contract. And that right there will actually make the workplace much better. Excessive discipline. Didn't I just talk about this? When the only remedy is to rescind unjust discipline, it allows supervisors to use this supposed corrective action to intimidate and sometimes force a loss in pay through the improper use of 16.7. Absolutely. The use of 16.7 is always used in the wrong way. I have never heard of it being used properly one time. And in my office, we had 8 or 9 people that were put on a 16.7 because they were involved in a theft ring that included my postmaster. All right, route adjustments. Due to the teams being off-site, the current TRAP, joint route evaluation, and adjustment process is not sufficiently capturing all the times we are spending on our routes and leaves a bad taste for everyone involved. We should never agree to do any process that even has the appearance of evaluating a carrier's performance. The use of USPS core program unnecessarily moves territory around and creates chaotic adjustments that drastically alter routes that have been previously bid on with a carrier seniority. We are not effectively able to resolve disputes because the joint process doesn't use an arbitrary process like we use for all of our other grievances. Customer Connect and USPS business growth. Placing at least one letter carrier per district in a Customer Connect role would pay for itself many times over. We want to use our connections out on the street to help grow the business, so we are the universal delivery network for the whole country. New carrier training program. We should run the training program for our craft, and management should be required to release the professional letter carrier trainers, then get out of our way. New carriers need a definitive schedule so that they are hired on the rolls and sitting at home without work or working in their office without the proper training. Carrier 204Bs. Letter carriers that are temporarily serving as supervisors still count towards the letter carrier complement and are slotted into full-time vacancies in lieu of a PTF or CCA letter carrier. Personally, eliminate the 204B position in its entirety. You're either management or you're a carrier. Plain and simple. No more walking that line. Any of you out there agree with me? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a discussion. Permanent start time changes. A regular carrier should have a regular permanent start time, which should coincide with daylight hours. Parcel and collection routes are the exception. Commitment to safety. District safety teams, where they are even functioning, lack management commitment and national oversight. New vehicles. It's time. Absolutely. I'm not a fan of the electric stuff because I think it's going to cause far more problems in the short term than it is in the long. Plus, I don't see justifying using all of that money to retrofit our facilities to accommodate the electric stuff. I'm going to leave it right there and say we should have just went with hybrids. The technology has been there, and if you look at Ford, they have some. If you look at Toyota, guess what? You ever hear of the Prius? Yeah, that's one of the very first cars that actually used hybrid technology. And where are they? Generation 11, 10, somewhere around there. Pretty damn good car. That's a hybrid if you're getting 50 miles a gallon. And last but not least, maternity leave. Bargaining unit employees of the federal government are eligible for up to 12 weeks of paid maternity leave. Meanwhile, we don't have any paid leave for this purpose and can only use our earned leave or LWOP where the FMLA provides for it. Anyway, this has just been a little bit of an insight to what Region 3 Business Agent Michael Cariff thinks that we need to go ahead and adjust to have a good contract. Also, for those of you that are tuning in now, later, maybe you weren't paying attention, he is going to be running for NALC president in the future, 2026. Go ahead. Remember, it's Caref4Prez, CAREF, number 4, PREZ on Facebook. You can also find that same name on YouTube, and keep your eyes out. Also, as more information comes out about the other candidate, James Henry, I'll go ahead and I'll be putting some of that on here. Please leave me a comment, like, subscribe if you want. Give me the finger in the comment. I really don't give a shit. You do what you got to do. Anyway, you all take care of yourselves. I know it's been hot. Hydrate. Take care. And I'll catch you next time.